A lot of people keep asking me what's going on with the takeover. 4 weeks ago, Reuters came out saying Qatar were negotiating going into exclusivity period. We had Rio keep breaking news saying something's going to happen, and nothing's happened. A lot of people said, Alice, what is going on? And we're going to talk about that in today's video. We're going to break everything down, the process down, where it's at, who's in the lead, because more reports coming out today that the Qatar are the favourites. Qatar are in the lead. Qatar have been the favourites for the last 4 weeks, but I've spoken to some people and I'm going to break down the news that we already know and just kind of give you an update of what's going on with the takeover situation and also just what's going on at United, because as we know, Maguire is set to lose captaincy and of course Bruno is set to be the next captain according to The Sun. Other news coming in from Fabrizio Romano that Man United are looking at centre-back, Monaco centre-back Axel Disasi, who for me doesn't really move me. I don't think he's that good of a centre-back, but if that's what Ten Hag wants, fair enough. But I don't think United will go for this player unless Harry Maguire leaves. Newcastle also interested in this player. Links are coming out about Manchester United looking at Diaby. Now he is a Bayer Leverkusen winger, predominantly a left-footed right winger, and considering we've got Amad Diallo and Anthony, I don't really believe it. I guess he can play across the front three. Maybe if Sancho goes, it will happen, but I think he's more of an Arsenal kind of signing. And then obviously news about, is Man United's budget actually 120 million? Or is it a little bit more? Are they playing, we've only got 120 million budget game and could they spend up to 200 million this summer? Because reports are coming out that they're actually very keen to back Ten Hag this summer. Is it going to be a good transfer window because the Glazers are going to announce at the end of the transfer window they're staying? Is this hold up because the Glazers are staying? Are Qatar in the lead? Is Jim RATCliffe still in the race? Let's talk about that. So obviously it was reported today Sheikh Jassim is understood to be the favourite in the race to acquire Man United. But that's not really significant news. That's not really a significant update on what's going on with the takeover. We've been hearing that for a while. But let's break down the situation. As far as I'm aware, as far as people I've spoken to, and I have to say this, there's a lot of people putting fake information out, and they're not even journalists, they're like those ITK accounts. Journalists are putting out information they're told, but the journalist sources can't always be trusted. The one journalist who's been bang on is Mike Keegan. He generally has Qatari sources. There's a few other journalist organisations like Bloomberg and Reuters that are edging towards Qatar, and they will probably have sources close to the stock exchange, and a little bit of information will be leaked. But a lot of people have been speaking to those in sort of Qatar loop, the Rain Group loop, the Jim RATCliffe loop, but they can't say much because, NDAs and stuff, and they don't want to get people in trouble. But the feeling at the moment is Qatar in the leading, and Qatar feel that they're winning. And this is, I think, where Rio's getting stuff from, these Qatari outlets that are very close to the royal family getting their stuff from. Because I think people close to Sheikh Jassim's camp are getting fed up and leaking that they're confident and they feel that they've won. But how has the process really been described? The process was described a couple of weeks ago as Qatar being 3-2 up in the 89th minute. And I think that's a very accurate description. Qatar 3-2 up in the 89th minute, so they're in the lead, they look like they're going to win it, but things can change. It's not clarified, it's not done. They're not, the longer and longer we wait before someone's named as an exclusive bidder, the longer and longer we wait before there's an announcement for Qatar and Sir Jim, Qatar or Sir Jim says to me, the longer this goes on, that 3-2 lead, if you've got a 3-2 lead with 10 minutes of extra time, it's more likely to be 3-0 than having a 3-2 lead with 2 minutes of extra time. The longer and longer this goes on, I go, is there going to be a Jim RATCliffe equaliser? Is there going to be a Glazer forfeit, And the feeling is that the Glazers aren't happy with both bids. I spoke to somebody, they said what could be the problem is the Glazers kind of know they have to sell and they can't make loads of money out of United anymore. They can't take the dividends out that they used to. And the feeling is that the Glazers will sell, but that it's not like Qatar's bid or Sir Jim's bid is clear or what they want. They're both short of the 6 billion valuation. They're both bids within the same region. There's not one that's a clear winner. They're both pretty equal. And really, the Glazers' ideal way is to see if Jim comes with a counter offer or Qatar up their bid even more, so they can get even more money out. So I think the reason for this takeover taking a while is because they want more money. The reason the 6 Glazer siblings, 4 want Qatar and 2 want Sir Jim is all about the money. Qatar promises more money up front. Qatar is an easy buyout, but Sir Jim, they can retain some power. If the shares go up, they can potentially get more money out of Sir Jim. However, with Qatar, you get the money right away. It's not borrowed. The problem is because Qatar and Sir Jim's, both of their bids are in the similar valuation and both of their bids are still under the 6 billion asking price, it's not like the Glazers are jumping to accept that bid and they're ready to move on that bid. They're not happy with both bids, which is why they're delaying. And if Qatar's bid was so much higher than Sir Jim's, then all 6 would have agreed on Qatar and they would have gone with that because it's the best option. Because even though they're not happy with both bids, they kind of know that they have to sell. So because Qatar and Sir Jim's bid is in very similar valuations, it's not like one is clear of the other. It is a matter of what could be the best, what could make the most money. And they apparently have been squabbling over that decision. However, Reuters are one of the most best and credible sources out there, and the feeling is they got a leak within the Rain Group, and so did Bloomberg, and I think they went on the United Stand, one of the rights for that, and they got some kind of information in the Rain Group that, from what they're hearing, it seems to be Qatar. It's, you know, Sir Jim is not out of the race. If Sir Jim was out of the race, he would come out and he would say something. When takeovers happen, the loser normally comes out and speaks out first. Sir Jim is not out of the race. The feeling is Qatar's in the lead, but the feeling is Qatar's in the lead, but they've been in the lead a while and nothing's happened. So what could that be? We had the Times, I believe, come out and actually say the delay could be because Joe and Avram want Sir Jim, and the reason Joe and Avram are delaying it now is because of the legal issues with Sir Jim. They're trying to find a way to bring Sir Jim in without being sued, because the big problem is, you know, if you bring in Qatar, it's easy, it's a done deal, it can be wrapped up. If you bring in Sir Jim, the other shareholders threaten to sue the Glazers, there could be problems. There is a suggestion that this delay is because of Sir Jim, and they want Sir Jim and they're delaying to make sure they don't get sued. That some sources even said that actually they're waiting for Qatar to show proof of funds, you know, just so they pass the Premier League owners test, because if they put Qatar in an exclusivity zone, they do the Premier League owners test and they fail, well, that's not going to end well for the Glazers. You know, there's rumours that Qatar needs to present proof of funds, which I don't think is the case anymore, but I know the Rain Group were sceptical at first. And then there's rumours that they're delaying it because they're not happy with the bid and they're going to stay. At the end of the day, I will say this, a lot of the journalists don't really know much what's going on, and there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of people finding out things and not knowing what's going on. I think the general situation is, and I will tell you this as a fact of what is going on, Qatar have signed all these documents, they've set up the Cayman Islands account, they've registered the company in the UK. Sir Jim is also doing those things. Qatar and Sir Jim are doing all these documents, everything they need to do behind the scenes. So when the Glazers make their decision, it's pretty much go to the Premier League owners test. Everything's been going on a while, but had the Glazers made their decision a few weeks ago, it still would have taken, you know, around 6 to 10 weeks to finalise the deal and do the paperwork and stuff. The feeling that's going on is that they're doing all the paperwork behind the scenes, just because the deal, once they actually decide officially, the deal can be pretty much done very quickly. And the feeling is the deal will be done by the end of the transfer window, and that while it looks sort of 75% Qatar, 25% Sir Jim, it is the Glazers, anything can happen. You can't rule out the possibility of the Glazers staying, even though it makes no sense business-wise for the Glazers to stay. They are the Glazers, they're not good businessmen. You know, they used United to put their debt on and pay off their debt. They're not good businessmen. If they were good businessmen, they would be running United with proper people, and we'd be a top club generating the most money, and they could still take out dividends. They haven't been able to take out dividends the last few years. The feeling is, from what I've heard with the takeover, is it's going to be done this transfer window. It won't go on too much longer. The Glazers still want to sell. Qatar is in the lead, but there's complications because the feeling is that not all the Glazers want Qatar, not all the Glazers want Sir Jim. And I think realistically, if Sir Jim comes with a higher offer, it's him. If it stays the way it is, it's probably going to be Qatar. And a lot of people who do have sources that don't want to put out information yet because it's too early, or that or non-disclosure agreements, a lot of people, I think, in the space, and I'm not talking about journalists, I'm not talking about journalists, I'm talking about sort of people with contacts to potentially those with Sir Jim, those with Qatar, those with Rain Group, a lot of people who have a little bit of Middle Eastern connections and American connections still feel that, from what they're hearing, Qatar is in the lead. But non-disclosure agreements have been signed. A lot of information that gets out there is fake. It's not like a transfer. It's a takeover. It's such a complex process. But I'd say now it's still 70-30 Qatar. But we just have to see what happens. The feeling is, because it's gone so quiet, there could be something happening soon. It's that quiet period, the calm before the storm. A lot of people think that something could happen very soon, but I've been saying something could happen very soon since March, and nothing's happened. So don't quote me on that. But I hope that kind of clears up everything we know on the takeover so much. Like, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know when the decision will be. I think that we'll hear something within the next 2 weeks. But I said that in March. I said that in April. I said that in May. I said that in June. So don't like think that we will. It's just very quiet, to be honest. And I do think we'll hear something soon, and I think that Qatar are edging it. If I was to put money on it, I'd probably say I would say Qatar, but you know, I would never bet on it because you can't be sure. You know, we all thought Frankie de Jong was going to come, and he didn't come to Manchester United. So I kind of wanted to make a video because what is going on with the takeover? That's sort of what I wanted to talk about. Other stuff in the news about Fulham interested in Fred, Saudi Arabia interested in Fred, United looking at Disasi of Monaco, who doesn't really move me. But I think I'm going to save that a little bit and talk about those players in tomorrow morning's video. I just saw a lot of people saying to me today, Alice, like, what's going on with the takeover? And obviously this isn't really new news that I'm telling you, but this gives me an opportunity to round up everything that we've known from journalists, people like Reuters, financial outlets, people that I've spoken to. And I'm not claiming to have like sources, but people I've spoken to be like, why is this person putting out this information? You know, why is Rio putting out this information, etc. So yeah, smash a like, smash a subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and bye.